Hello, my name is Dale DuFay, and welcome to the Mandela Effect equals knowledge. Now, what is quantum entanglement? You know, it's a question that physicists are trying to answer right now. They've pretty much got it close here. Quantum entanglement enables particles to affect each other instantaneously across any distance. And then down here it says entangled particles would remain connected even if they were on opposite sides of the universe. Now, the Mandela Effect is showing us that this is very true. Maybe not, I mean, we're only getting a glimpse of what it's like to be across the galaxy. We see that we're connected with every replica version of ourselves, and some of them are across the galaxy, across literally 75,000 light years from here. And we know that they're doing exactly what we're doing because we came from there. And nothing happened to those replica versions of ourselves. Our souls are shifting into replica versions of ourselves. I always liken it to musical chairs, and that's exactly what's happening. There's no elimination, though, like in musical chairs, but every time we shift, every portion of our soul is shifting into another replica version of ourselves instantly. Now, the shifting aspect isn't really what quantum entanglement's about. The shifting aspect must be when our souls are in superposition or in flux, and they're able to coalesce into other replica versions of ourselves very easily without any ill effects. I mean, some of us might feel a headache or something when it happens, or other physical things, but it goes away pretty quick. But we are shifting, and the Mandela Effect is teaching us, by the very fact that this is happening to us, it's showing us what quantum entanglement is. Because when we enter and coalesce into another replica version of ourselves during this superposition or fluxing of our soul and the shifting aspect, we're finding out that these replica versions of ourselves do exactly, for the most part, what we have done. I know that's true in my case, but what is it teaching us about quantum entanglement? It's showing us the very fact that we are quantumly entangled with every replica version of ourselves, even though we're oblivious to it. Every portion of our soul is fiercely independent, but yet every portion of our soul is experiencing the exact same thing we are when it comes to the Mandela Effect. It's being taught what quantum entanglement is. Now, you could see lectures from physicists and people in the quantum mechanics field, and the theories they have. The one thing that's clear is when they split a proton, they find that the connection remains between the two, and they seem to only understand that through these experiments, that it only happens when you split these elements. And they're starting to find out that it's, of course, everything's made up of atoms. So if atoms are in this quantum level, this quantum, able to split and do exactly what there's, others doing, no matter what the distance is, they're starting to find out that, well, everything larger can be split, and the same thing could happen. But here's the thing. What the physicists only seem to think that it's because it only happens when you split an individual atom or whatever, the proton or lights or whatever they're trying to do. It only occurs at that time. But we understand, we have a greater knowledge of all this than any physicist. Think about that. They've spent many years in college learning the physics and what's quantum entanglement is, and this spooky physics, and it takes forever to get a understanding just by being taught, and they're just only at this stage understanding that they stay connected even if they were on opposite sides of the universe. And we know that, again, we know that because we're connected to replica versions. We're being shown that that happens beyond a shadow of a doubt. But here's the thing, they need to understand, and if only we could just tell them, we could tell them exactly what quantum entanglement's all about. It doesn't need to be split. It already happened. When our souls were created, they were already fractured and splintered at that point of creation. So the quantum entanglement is already there. And here it turns out that that's exactly, we're just by shifting and realizing this and understanding that we're constantly connected on a subconscious level with all the other replica versions of ourselves, even though we're oblivious to them. We're still connected, but it's given us an understanding that this quantum entanglement is a big deal. It's actually the basic fundamental foundation of existence. Without it, we wouldn't be able to even exist, period. It's as simple as that. So, what is this quantum entanglement? It's everything in the entire galaxy, and it includes everything in the galaxy. The Earths are quantumly connected to one another constantly. They were at creation, or they're being I believe there's Earths being created as we speak from the galactic center, as the Earth's cab. That's flies in the face of the Big Bang theory, but that theory is obsolete. It's Mandela Effect's teaching us so many things that if only the physicists would listen and understand, because how do you tell somebody that we're actually experiencing this quantum entanglement and what it's about? We're actually being able to, in scientific terms, in academia today, they call it superposition. That's when we shift, and it's instantaneously. It's I believe, in my case anyway, it happens during REM sleep, which makes sense because that's the time when all of your soul portions are connected and in synchronization. Of course, they're always connected, but that's the time when they're in sync. That's why the REM sleep is so essential. It's teaching us the importance of REM sleep. Rapid eye movement, very important. If we don't get it, we can't even, we lose our cognizant abilities, and start losing our thoughts, and it's very essential. It's obvious that we need it. It's not understood why we need it, but those of us that are affected with the Mandela Effect are understanding why REM sleep's important, because it's showing us that we're quantumly connected in this entanglement with other replica versions of ourselves that have been sharing our soul since the day we were born. That it's just, you can't, it's showing us everything. And it's showing us that not only is our soul splintered and fractured into who knows how many portions, and that each portion is fiercely independent, but yet we're connected to all of them constantly on a subconscious level. That's why we get these sensations. That's why we humans do the things we do. But it's also showing us the importance of, that our soul is what it's all about. Our soul is ancient. Our souls have been developed in the character and personality from day one. And they are splintered and fractured into replica versions of ourselves. Obviously there's variations and differences in our bodies. We've come to expect that, though, because there's variations and differences in these realities, but yet they're virtually identical to the reality that you recall. I know that's my case. Obviously, the Earth was 3-4 times larger, so the geography was different, and that still doesn't affect the overall outcome. It didn't affect my life, because I always lived in the Midwest, the Illinois and here in Michigan. So really there's not much variations and differences there. I'm sure other people in other parts of the world would see variations and differences like those that are affected in South America. Peru, in the reality I recall that this portion of my soul originated, Peru was in the Pacific time zone, and here it's in the Eastern time zone. So people would be affected considerably, in those areas. People who transverse the Panama Canal on a regular basis that are affected, they would see the variations and differences drastically in those things. But in my case, it's very, very subtle. You look out and a tree might be different and things like that. But we've come to expect that. We expect our bodies to be different. They seem to be more robust in these realities, maybe perhaps because they have to be. And the reality I recall, the human body was very frail, and everybody, if you, everybody knew somebody who had a broken collarbone or floating rib and things like that. But here, our bodies are more robust, our hearts are larger, everything. But that's because it has to be. I'm certain these, all life on the earths are built to suit the particular earth they were created on. So no doubt these earths have their own personality and character. That's why we see variations and differences in the Bible and things like that. But I'm kind of digressing off of this, quantum entanglement. I mean, it's awesome that we know more than any physicist on this earth. I mean, it's incredible. And we didn't even go to college. I know I didn't. I didn't even finish high school. But yet, because we're experiencing the Mandela Effect, we know more than any physicist on Earth. Think about that. Because of experiencing it. We're not being told, we're being shown what the quantum entanglement is all about, and how it's the basic fundamental foundation of existence. And it may be really what that black matter is that they just don't quite understand, because everything is connected. Now I know Mary Hall very well. She's got a channel on YouTube that's doing quite well. And she experienced a near-death experience, and she saw that connection. She saw that everything was connected like fibers. So she got to experience it in a near death. So that's incredible. She saw the quantum entanglement, and it literally is the Mandela Effect's vindicating that theory, that everything. It's not just what their experiments are doing, and it's not just the protons that they split that are experiencing this quantum entanglement. They have to realize that every atom in their body is quantumly entangled with all the other atoms of their duplicate replica versions of themselves throughout the galaxy. They'll soon, find that out. But it's very interesting, and it's always exciting to have more knowledge than these professors, than these physicists, than trying to think of the phrase, those physicists that are into the string theory and things like that. Now they're theoretical physicists. Yeah, they get some understanding, and they're getting better at it. But just we know way more than they do. But because we're not educated and don't have a college degree, or at least I'm talking about myself, you can't talk to them. You can't even approach them or get an audience. But if you can only find one that would listen, it'd be so exciting to tell them what we're experiencing and how incredible understanding of what really quantum entanglement is, and how it ties in so importantly to creation and life, and how it's always been. We're showing things that have always been yet never known, and we are, there's got to be a reason for that, and I think it's incredible, and I often say too, we have, because we're experiencing the Mandela Effect, we have this spiritual knowledge that goes well beyond the knowledge of any spiritual leader on the face of the earth in any religion. So basically, in a nutshell, we have more knowledge of spirituality than the Pope, because we're not better or anything. It doesn't make us better, but the knowledge we receive from it is astronomical. So someday, it may, the reason for all this and why we're shifting and being shown all this will come to a head. Maybe we'll, like I said, if only you could tell it to some physicists. If only we could go up to the best ones, and explain exactly what we're experiencing and what we're being shown, and it would explain all that what they're trying to wonder. I know everything I've ever wondered about my entire life has been answered by what I'm experiencing with the Mandela Effect. Everything I've ever wondered about, and I used to wonder about a lot of things my whole life, and everything is being answered or been answered. It's incredible, and still there's still things to learn, certainly. But that's what's awesome about the Mandela Effect. That's why it equals knowledge. That's basically why it's happening, to show us. I mean, what better way? Obviously, you could be told, but the thing is there's no better way than just to be shown. We're being shown, not told. The answers are out there, not just what we're experiencing, but what we've always wondered about, and out there for everybody, right in front of our face. So that's what's really cool about the Mandela Effect. I know it's kind of vastly different than what others believe, but to me, it's why else could it be happening? It's certainly not a sinister event, because those powers to be that are sinister have no way could they have the power to allow our souls to be coalesced into other replica versions of ourselves tens of thousands of light years away. There's no way that anything has that power to allow this to happen other than whoever the supreme creator has the power to do this. Only the person who created our souls can allow this to happen. So that in and of itself should say it's a very, very important event. The most important event that's ever happened in the entire history of humanity. So that's the way I look at it. And it has opened my eyes and, again, answered everything I've ever wondered about. So it's obviously that's why it's happening. It's showing us something, the way things have always been yet never known. I'm convinced that this is a sacred secret that's supposed to be revealed, and it's talked about in Revelation chapter 10 verse 7, and in a couple other places talks about the mysteries of God or the sacred secret, and this is supposed to happen, and it's obviously the sacred secret is the Mandela Effect. And that was one of the verses in the Bible, because I was always enjoyed Revelation, not enjoyed it, but studied it, tried to study it, but it makes a lot more sense with the Mandela Effect happening. But I've always wondered what that sacred secret in chapter 10 verse 7 meant. Even when I was a kid, when I read it, I was like, wow, what's this sacred secret, And then when the Mandela Effect occurred, and when I got, brushed away all them negative feelings about it and them thoughts coming, the sinister aspect of the Mandela Effect that's going on out there. When I brushed that all away, I realized, once my eyes were open, then it started making sense. Then I understood, wow, the first thing I thought of was, it's the sacred secret. What do you know? Being shown the sacred secret, And it's not just me, it's millions of us are being shown the sacred secret. The way life has always been, yet never known. Think about that. We have more knowledge about quantum entanglement than anybody. Every time I see an article about quantum entanglement, I read it, and it's like they're just getting so close to, they just don't seem to make that one connection, that, hey, wait a minute, we're made of atoms, so if our atoms have this quantum ability, perhaps they're split already when we were born, and perhaps there's duplicate versions of ourselves tens of thousands of light years away in realities that are virtually identical. It's going to make a connection, but we've already been shown this, so we already know. So that's what's really cool. So anyway, I thank you for listening, and we'll talk at you later. Love you.